my water because I'm thirsty all the time.
Oh yeah. The mics, I don't know that they work, so we might need to project. Sometimes they do, sometimes hello. And they've been cutting out too.
I can do that.
You guys have been going to a lot, right? Have you noticed the mics?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know they were. I was having trouble.
This doesn't work at all.
It works. It was just on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Hello. Oh, this works. Hi, everybody. Hey. All right. Well, thanks for coming.
See you later. Bye.
So, how does this work? Do we just tell your life stories? You ask questions?
Just kind of. We'll talk about Scream a little bit. Yeah, tell me some of your experiences about it. But mostly, we'll try to get you guys involved. This is your con, so I want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to ask you, like, Jim Wimber's one of my heroes. He played Michael Myers. He did the falling out of the thing, and I feel like you're like a young, Jim Wimber. And he passed away. R.I.P. A great guy. How does it feel to be doing like In the Mask and like some of the?
I mean, honestly, I didn't realize how big it was, how big of a deal it was until I put on the costume. It was for me, it was a job. Right? I got called, I do stunts, so the coordinator called me and he goes, hey, you want a job? I'm like, yeah, I want a job. So I showed up and then we created a fight choreography for the Gale fight, in the apartment. And the directors liked the way I was moving, because in the previs that we call it, I was the one doing the Ghostface. And so they liked the way I was moving, I guess, and they were like, hey, you wanna do it? I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do it, It's a good job, why not? And I went to the costume fitting, and then I tried the robe, and I tried the mask, and they even gave me a prop knife, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and then I was like, okay, this is something. This is a big deal. Like, this is cool. And then from there on out, like it was just a real honor to put that character, those movements to life, basically.
Do you have like a background in like gymnastics or choreography or dance?
Yeah,
I would imagine you need that.
Yeah, ballet. No. I do martial arts. I've been doing martial arts since I was 4, and gymnastics, trampoline, parkour, just stuff, and then of course, other crazy things like jumping off rooftops and stuff, just in snowbanks, as we all do in Canada. Yeah, that's how we get our food. We just jump off rooftops and snowbanks. That's and so I have all that, and then through the years I did stunts and learned more skills that way and movements and stuff. It's a great thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a legacy of the men behind the mask, and you're part of that now. How does that kind of feel?
Oh man, it's an honor, really, because Ghostface to me is there's always somebody new in the costume. It's always another killer, but because of the voice and also because of the costume, it's an entity, right? It's like Freddy, or it's like Jason, or it's like any of these. Even though it's always somebody like another killer in the costume. And to me, that's amazing, because as soon as you put on the costume, you just become that entity. It doesn't matter. Just like the cosplayers, it's like I'm scared of all of you. So it's great. So yeah, it's an honor, really.
And Roger, how did you get started in the Scream franchise? Like, did you go to them? Did you have to interview there, or did they just were like, we know who we want for this role? How did that come about?
No, I auditioned along with a lot of other people in the Bay Area, where I was living at the time, San Francisco Bay Area. And they were filming in Santa Rosa, which is just north of San Francisco, where another great serial killer film was made, Shadow of a Doubt by Alfred Hitchcock. And they were looking for an actor to play the scene with Drew Barrymore. And because she wanted somebody to play the scene with her, an actor, instead of just getting lines fed to her, because it's hard to emote when you're getting, if you hang up on me again, I will gut you like a fish, do you understand? So they were looking for somebody just to play the scene with her. So I auditioned with a lot of other people and they picked me. The audition scene was that first opening scene, and all that you needed to know was right there. The guy's got to be real. It's not, I heard some of the guys that say, my agent says we're looking for the new Freddy Krueger, and you read the script, this isn't Freddy Krueger. This is a real person who's got to be kind of interesting, maybe a little sexy, so you put a little warmth into the voice, a little color, so that, you know, maybe the ladies like it. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong number. Oh, you're making popcorn. I only make popcorn when I'm going to watch a movie. Oh, you like scary movies? What's your favorite scary movie? And then it turns into the cat and mouse. And when the paw comes down, I want to know who I'm looking at. I mean, I want to know who I'm talking to. Why, what did you think I said? It's got to be real, but it's got to be able to go dark, too. Yep. So they hired me. I was doing the scene that first night. If you remember that scene, the room she's in, I'm outside the window under a little piece of plastic because it's raining out there. And I'm looking at her through the window as best I can, doing the scene. And we worked that night. And somehow during the night, Wes and Marianne Magdalena, the producer, decided they liked what I was doing. So they said, well, let's not just do this, let's hire him to do the whole thing. And they decided to keep doing that business of having me live on the set, playing the scene with the actors. So that became a tradition, as it were. And the next day, I was in a comfortable little garage, watching the camera feed on a monitor instead of being out in the rain. And that's how it started.
All right, I know we got some questions, so who's got some? Hughes.
So I had heard that you like didn't meet any of the actors who were like actually like doing the scenes because like to like keep like the fear factor, and that you hadn't met them until like way after the movie had come out. So I was like wondering like, what was that like? How did you guys like actually end up meeting?
Well, you know, I met a couple of them by accident, but of course they didn't know who I was. They were trying to keep me hidden away, sequestered, so that there was no face to associate the voice with. Because there's nothing as scary as the monster you make in your own mind. It's like old radio theater, you know. Yeah. So they kept me away. I didn't meet anybody officially until after the fourth film, when we started doing conventions. But during the second one, we were filming in my hometown, Atlanta. And one night how shall I say it? I got the munchies.
It's legal here, it's okay.
And went down to the snack machines where they also had the washer dryers. And there's some guy leaning into the machine. I walk in, and he whips around, and it's Jamie Kennedy, and he goes, "Do you know how to do fabric softener?" And I go, no, I don't. Oh, then he dives back into the thing. And then later I rode to the set with Courteney Cox and David Arquette, who were together then. And I could tell they were going. So, but I didn't meet anybody until much later, officially.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
I have another question. So I imagine a lot of fans ask you to do the voice when they meet you. What is the weirdest or most peculiar thing somebody's asked you to say? Or just, if there's not anything like that, like, is there any like odd encounters you've had with fans that you can recall?
I think there are children in this room. You don't want to know what people have asked me to
It must be very flattering.
Well,
Max.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna Max first. What do you like better, doing like a masked character or doing regular acting? Because I think you've done some also acting with your normal face.
Yeah, I do acting with my normal face. Yeah. For whoever wants to pay, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's so different from one to the other. I started as an actor. I studied for years, and then because of my lifestyle, I would say, you know, I met stunt coordinators, and then I started doing stunts as well. I do a lot of motion capture for video games. So I work for you know, Warner or Ubisoft quite a lot, and EA and stuff. And motion capture, it's basically acting with a mask, because you're the body, you do like the skeleton. So you do all the movements, and you know, unless you do like facial capture as well. And then they put either voice or action on top of it. So it's kind of, you know, like doing acting with a mask on, like Ghostface or, you know, any of the mask killers that I've done. It's just very different, you know. It's like saying, do you prefer to do theater or film? And it's, you know, you like them both. You know, it depends on the character. For me, it's all about story. And if I like the script, if I like, you know, the character itself, then, you know, I'll do it regardless. But yeah, I can't choose. It's like choosing between your two kids. I would guess. I don't have children.
Can you drop any names of the video games that you did?
Sure. I did a lot of the Assassin's Creeds. My first one was Black Flag. That was my introduction to video games. Yeah! So yeah, I was lucky enough to do the assassin on that. So it was Edward, like the movement and the fights and the gameplay. So, and then I did a little bit of Unity. I did a little bit of the one in Egypt also. So those were the Assassin's Creed. I did Gotham Knights a little more recently, where I played Red Hood. I don't know if anybody plays video games here.
Yeah, Red Hood.
There you go.
I love Red Hood.
It's one of my favorite characters ever.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
It was awesome. I did you know, a few others, a little less known games. I stunt coordinated 3 days on Call of Duty. The 3 that came out. So you know, just like a couple of days. Yeah. So a few games. You know what I mean?
Oh, I was gonna say, sorry. Yeah. I was gonna ask, when you approached the role of Ghostface, did you sort of watch the other movies to study his body language, or did you kind of just go into it like uniquely, since Ghostface is technically a different person every time?
Yeah.
So
I did study it, but not to copy any of the movement.
Mhm.
To me, it was a brand new character.
Yeah.
And you know, when I got approached, I didn't, you know, the directors didn't go, you should move this way, you should, you know, do it a certain way. It was just, I basically did it, you know, my way. And if they didn't like it, they would tell me, you know, I'll try this, try that. But I did study it for the story. Like I did watch, you know, most of the movies just for the storyline itself. Because you want to, you know, even in fights, there's always a storyline. So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Even if it's a 2-minute fight, it doesn't matter. And that's when the audience, you know, engages. If it's just 2 people fighting and then you're like, oh, so it's just 2 stuntmen doing a choreography, and, you know, it's a little boring. But if it keeps going with the story, then it makes sense. So in that way, yeah, I did study it a little bit because I wanted to keep the story going, even if it was just stabbing and slicing, you know.
Yeah, and I think like Ghostface is unique in that way, where like if you were to put on like a Jason or Michael Myers mask, you kind of have to, because it's supposed to be the same figure. But like Ghostface, you kind of you brought your own thing to it.
Yeah. And a lot of questions that I got through either at the booth or other conventions, like, oh, are you going to do the 7th one? And I was like, I would love to, but it makes so much sense to switch stunt person in the costume because it's not the same character.
Right.
So if I move the same way, or if I try unnaturally to change the way that I fight, or stab and slice in this case, it would show, I think. So it's a really good thing, I believe, that they change stunt performers in the costume, you know, at every film. I think there was only one that did like maybe 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 or something like that. And yeah, I didn't notice the difference, but it makes sense if they switch to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You had a question in the back, sir.
Yeah. I had a question for Mr. Jackson. So recently, it got leaked that Ghostface is going to be in the Mortal Kombat game as a character creator. Could you tell us if you're going to be the voice actor for that game or not?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question for Robert Jackson. Do you actually enjoy scary movies? And if you do, which one's your favorite?
I love scary movies. I love horror, science fiction, fantasy. I love them so much. I don't have a favorite. I have favorites. Some of which, well, one of which certainly, was directed by our great friend out here, Joe Dante. The great director, Joe Dante. The Howling.
Yep.
Which is another, I like movies that have real scares, real horror, but humor too. And The Howling has a lot of humor and great Easter eggs. Like, if you're watching it, you'll notice when the two reporters are at home, they've got the Big Bad Wolf is on their TV, and next to the bed is a copy of Allen Ginsberg's Howl. And, Fearless Vampire Killers is another one I really like. The full title is The Fearless Vampire Killers, or pardon me, are those your teeth in my neck? And I can't tell you the scariest film I've ever seen, which was a documentary. It's by the great documentary filmmaker Frederick Wiseman. It's called Titicut Follies. It was filmed at the Massachusetts Hospital for the Criminally Insane. And what's scary about it is you can't tell who is crazy. The people in the institution or the people running the institution. Kind of like real life.
Any other questions? Yeah.
This question is for Roger. Favorite Scream movie and why?
That's like asking me to choose my children. Sophie's choice, Chris. I can't do that. Stop it. Stop it. Well,